Okay, Paris, thanks for kicking things off. As usual, let's go ahead and get right to work here. I've got your stamps up right here. So I've got a lot to say, so I'll get to it quickly. So I think the main thing right now, okay, so we have a lot of inconsistency in the stamp series itself. And then I think the illustrations still need a lot of detail to be added. So let's start with the illustrations. So over here, there's no detail in the hair at all. I really think we need shadow highlights and some texture in the hair. The eyes themselves have skin tone for the whites of the eyes. And I also think that these kind of spider lashes could be, I think you can take some artistic merit here, some liberties, and try to clean up those eyelashes. Um, I think that we definitely need shadow highlight area on the face. And it also seems like the eyes, there's no pupil in the eyes. They're just blue, and then there's a little circle in the middle. So we need a pupil. Consider some specular highlights. That's reflections in the eyes. And then this little nose right here, it's really prominent. What I would recommend doing here is instead of using black, take the parent hue and add a dark value to it and use that instead of the black stroke for the line. Remember, no gradients at all. All right, this won't work. These little gradients in the outfit. I would also recommend adding a lot more detail to the clothing area. And then also over here, this yellow part, I'm not real sure what that is, but I would definitely take care of that. That looks like a mistake. Next illustration, again, the same thing, really. It just really seems underdeveloped. Shadow and highlight areas. Let's get some eyelashes in there. Specular highlights, pupil color, reflections in the eyes. And then same thing with that really dark, prominent nose area there. Also, very, very little contrast between the lips and the skin. So that's going to be really difficult to see. It's a stamp, so it's going to be viewed really small. Shadow highlights. Let's get some detail on flowers. I think that's really going to help. Definitely texture in the hair. Shadow highlight area, and mainly we're looking at shadow and highlight. I think we're really lacking in that area. This one looks great. Again, the lines in the face are really super dark. So take that skin, parent skin hue, add a really dark value to it. So you'll be shading it technically, and then you'll use that instead of black. Need some detail in the hands. This looks like a mistake right here. The thumb kind of sticking part of it in the cup, glass. Um, some really those hands really need some detail right there. Definitely either that or remove this completely and just increase the size of the actual portrait. Buttons, shadows, highlights, clothing area, folds in the clothing area. Yeah, don't forget the eyes. The same thing. Eyelashes, specular highlights in the reflections in the eyes. And then this one has absolutely no shading or highlight at all. So I would recommend doing that as well. Adding that. Got to get some texture. We can show some really cool movement in the hat area by adding shadow highlights and lines showing movement. Like there would be a fold right here. There looks like there would be a fold right here. Um, and let me see, clothing, texture, not texture, shadow highlight, detail in the clothing. Definitely really want to. This can be a really powerful portfolio piece, specifically in terms of showing your prowess in flat illustration, which is and always will be a major part of graphic design. So I recommend that you really take some time in the next few days and really hammer these things out. As far as the series themselves go, it's really difficult because the stamps are all presented in different sizes. So I'm going to take my cursor, I'm going to hold it on the edge of this stamp right here. Now watch what happens when I scroll down. That one's much smaller. Look how much smaller this one is. And then also in the interior portion of the stamp, it doesn't look like you're using the clipping mask that was provided. So don't forget to take that tutorial. That's right over here. It's really important. This is the clipping mask, how to use the postage stamp template file. And that'll really show you how to do interesting clipping masks. Now the background, I think the backgrounds I don't think it's good color harmony. I think that the backgrounds are really super saturated and bright. They're taking away from the attention from the illustration. Here's a neat technique right here. This one shows, instead of just having a background, this one shows just a little shape of a color background. That's a really super interesting technique there. Another thing that you could possibly try in this one is using color only in the clipping area and then keeping the perforation area white. That frames it beautifully. My final recommendation is this, is as a series, the typography, as in any series, the typography should be identical. So what you want to do is like we can see this type is way bigger than this type. And then this is presented over here where this is presented on a diagonal. This one is below on a diagonal. And so really want to nail down your typography. Keep that typography constant on all 4 stamps. I mean, set it, let it stay, and leave it there. So the typography is the same on all 4 pieces. Okay, so again, we're just really looking at detail here. When we take a look at the spatial relationships between the size of the portrait and the picture plane, meaning the stamp in the background, this one looks pretty good. This one looks like it's really super bottom heavy because you've got all this space above right there. It's kind of pushing her down in the composition. It's kind of a little bit uncomfortable there. I think this is really, really small. The clipping area is super small in relationship to the stamp itself. So he looks like tiny, tiny little in the stamp. And the same thing here. The same thing can be said here as well. So the main thing is get the details done. Shadow, highlights, reflections, etc. Detail on the clothes, texture. Get your typography down so it's consistent on all 4 stamps. And then get that clipping mask down so that it shows the playing field, for a lack of a better word, the actual play, where the actual playing area itself, the inside of the clipping mask that holds the images is consistent on all 4 stamps. Okay, other than that, good start. And if you have any questions at all, we're down to it here. This is our final checkpoint before final submission. So right now, I don't want to sound discouraging. Paris, you know me by now. You know, I'm just trying to be as critical as I can. I don't think this is ready yet for inclusion in the portfolio. I think you have a little bit of work to do here. So if you have any questions at all, and please understand that I don't mean that to sound discouraging. I mean it to sound encouraging, because this piece could be a wonderful, wonderful addition to any student portfolio. The stamp series. All right, so one final comment is based on whatever your background color is. This black, fully saturated black, it really advances in the composition. I think too much so, as we can see right here. I mean, it's just really garnering a lot of attention right there. And I think we can improve hierarchy by maybe adding a dark gray here instead of black, or even a different color for the typography. So listen, if you want to run anything by me between now and Sunday, please do, because I'm really super interested in everyone in this class and getting a portfolio ready piece out of this project. Okay, great job. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Thanks, Paris.